the idea of integrating structural and processual theory. That's the terms I use was processual and structural. Some say micro and macro or other terms are used, but the terms that I use are compatible theories of individual behavior, compatible with the structural theories of group behavior, of differences between communities and societies and so on. That really was Sullivan had that idea. He called one the processual he called differential association, the structure he called differential social organization. He wanted to say social disorganization, but he didn't like that term. But he didn't do anything with that. And through the years, I kept saying, well, this theory would be good to use to integrate it with structural theories, conflict theory, autonomy theory, strain, oppression, all these theories of why there's differences in classes and races and so on. And so I through the years kept saying, I really need to work on that some more. And I had got the chance to do that in the 90s. I did work on it a little bit. I made statements about structural and processual things. And I published a book in 1992 on drugs and alcohol. And in there, I outlined a little bit of how you might put social learning and structural theories together, but I didn't do a lot with it. And I had the chance in the 90s to do a book that was called Social Learning and Social Structure. And I went through the whole history of social learning and all the other things about that. And then I put together what I called social structure and social learning. The social structural part, or the social learning part, you all know, add those four parts to it: the differential association, differential reinforcement, definitions, and imitation. I thought, well, maybe I could come up with similar specification of social structure, because although sociologists and anthropologists had used that term for generations, it never was really clearly defined. What do you mean by social structure? What's that mean? And so I kept saying, well, see if I can come up with some dimensions. So I came up with those four dimensions. The first one I said was differential social organization. And this referred to whole communities, whole societies, whole segments of society, and things about them, their culture and other things that make them support or not support criminal behavior. So something in the general system, the general culture. That was differential social organization. And then I said, well, now what's another process or another concept? And I said, well, look, the whole idea of integrating social process and social structure was to do a theoretical integration. Well, what were the theories of social structure? Well, they were the ones I mentioned just a minute ago: conflict theory, theories of oppression, all kinds of feminist theory, Marxist theory. All those theories were referring to social structure. And if you go back enough in history, you'll see that Durkheim's theories were always referring to social structure. So I said, well, let's put that as, let's see what those theories define as social structure and see if we can measure those and put those in the model. Then the other one was what I call differential social location in groups. And that was basically the social demographic characteristics that we all like to use: age, gender, race, class, and so on. What's that mean? What's it mean to say you're in a certain class? Well, it locates you in the social structure. And it makes a difference where you're located in the social structure, how you behave. So I thought that'd be another dimension of social structure. Social structure, how would they be put together with a theory of social process? And my idea was that those social structures have variables that impact individuals. And those individuals, of course, as parts of groups, feel those. Now, how does that affect their behavior? How does your social class affect your behavior? How does your gender affect your behavior? How does your race affect your behavior? How does being in a conflict situation or a situation of oppression, how does that affect your behavior? And I would say my answer was they are mediated by the social learning processes. Those have an effect on individuals because they affect the social learning variables. They affect associations. They affect imitation. They affect one's definitions and so on. And so that was my idea, was that it would be mediated, the structural variables would be mediated by the social learning variables. Now, there might be other variables involved too, but I'm saying the main mediation would come through social learning variables. So that's how I put them together. Now, I did not specify it fully enough. And I know one of the things that people have asked about sometimes is, have you specified this fully enough? And I don't think I have. So I usually use the word model. When I say SS, social learning, social structure, I usually use the term model rather than theory, because I don't think it's articulated enough to be really, it's not articulated the same way that social learning is. But I think it's articulated enough that can be tested. And that's what I was doing. And I've had a number of things I later on can go through the empirical evidence on, but that's how I got to that point. Now, I'm hoping that somebody else will come along. I'm too old now, but I'm hoping somebody else will come along and will take it up and modify it enough, or specify it more, or finish the job, put together the social learning, social structure, complete the job. I haven't completed it. I've got a long way along the road with it, but I'm hoping that it'll be a challenge to other younger scholars coming along who will take it and maybe improve on it. I mean, I think that'd be great.